Hey everyone, hope all is well with everyone out there. Um, it's been a while, right? It's been a long time since I've been on camera um, speaking and just sharing my thoughts and things of that nature. Typically, it's focused on men's grooming, my Burke Avenue products, and anything related to men's grooming tips and tricks and all that good stuff. But you know, this time is going to be a little different. My wife has always prompted me to always, she's been asking me for years, just, since I have shared in the past, obviously with the mensroom.com and all these things many, many years ago that I've done, just sharing advice to help people, empower them to look the very best they can. She always shared with me that there's so much that I offer and so much that I know outside of that in the space of, you know, being an entrepreneur. And and there's been so many times where I've gone to barber schools and beauty schools and been able to share my story and have been able to honestly just give simple nuggets that save people sometimes years off of their own journey. And so I've never taken her up on that offer until right now, and it's only because something very interesting happened to me several weeks back, and it jarred me quite a bit. Surprisingly, it jarred me quite a bit to the point where a very dear friend of mine spoke to me and said almost the very same thing that my wife has been saying for years. And it just really caused me to think a little bit and say, well, you know what? Maybe there's something there that I should really share with folks. And I'm a pretty private person. Probably one of the biggest reasons why I struggle with social media from a personal level. It's just something that I just from upbringing, it's very hard for me to be authentic on social media. And so sometimes I feel like in my social media ambitions, it doesn't really come off that I am, in my own opinion, feeling very authentic at all. And so I felt like this opportunity was a good opportunity for me to be able to share a more authentic side of myself. And I'm almost considering this an aspect of therapy for me. I've never been someone to open up and share, even very, very, it was very hard for me to do the same with my friends, my very, very close friends. It's even hard for me to get close to them and share my deepest concerns, my deepest challenges. But they know that, and they're patient and waiting for when I just feel comfortable in sharing some stuff. But I feel like this is a good opportunity to share because it's just one of those things that I don't think we get a chance to see on a daily basis with folks that are entrepreneurs. A lot of times you see the entrepreneurial drive as being something that is super aggressive. You're working hard, you're staying up late, and all of a sudden there's a success. And very few times that I have seen, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not looking in the right places, or maybe I'm just not looking or caring enough to look. I very rarely see opportunities where we can share as entrepreneurs the challenges, the pitfalls, the spaces where we are down and downtrodden in a way where you don't want to do anything. You're kind of frustrated and really disappointed. And so for me, that happened several weeks ago. I had an opportunity to pitch Burke Avenue, that's my main skincare line, to a retailer, a national retailer at that. And it essentially just fell in my lap. It wasn't something that I was pursuing. I was just trying my best just to kind of really work things out the way I've always tried to work things out with Burke Avenue and continue to grow it, build awareness. Coming off of 2020, it was ridiculous how tough it was just to live for me as well as for you, I'm sure, in many ways. And so I was really happy that Burke Avenue survived. And I'll probably share share a story about how that all worked out as well. That was 2020 was tough, but this particular scenario was just something that just fell in my email, and I said, "Wow, this is." I never really thought that there would be an interest at this point with Burke Avenue, but hey, I stand by my products. Many folks really enjoy it. It's not products that I just developed really quickly just to make money. It was something that I really put my name on it and spent time developing. And so I knew that if there was any retailer out there interested in my product, they will be very happy with the success of their customers purchasing my product. So I proceeded to submit all the paperwork for this. I had to do, they gave me instructions on how to do this pitch. I'm a one-man band. A lot of folks think I am not. If you have ever purchased Burke Avenue products, 96% of the time I'm packaging it myself and I'm shipping it out to you. The other times I've tried fulfillment houses that didn't work out well for me, or my wife is packing it. Outside of that, I'm the guy. I'm the one that's packaging all your stuff, maybe late nights, taking it to the post office and making sure that you get your stuff on time. And so, this opportunity took me, the first portion of the project took me almost a total of 3 days to do. I'm talking literally going to bed at 3 a.m. in the morning, putting things together to make sure it's perfect, make sure it's right, make sure I was prideful. I was ready to have pride in the performance and in the presentation. That's me. That's what I try to do. I try to be that person that I make sure there's no stone unturned when I present. And that's what I did. Maybe other folks that were going through this process didn't do that, but that's what I do. And so, the first round went, and it was a good success. I was just sitting waiting, and then a couple more things came my way as far as it looking like it was going to work out. And I spent a couple more days putting stuff together. And what was very fascinating about it is that I felt like this is probably not very difficult for someone that has 2-3 members on their team, where I could just pass this on and say, hey, work on this, and if you have any questions, let me know. But I'm packaging product, sending emails, doing social media. I am now spending time at night working this together. And many of you know that I'm a family man. I love my son, I love my wife, I love to spend time with them. And when those things come into my space and challenge me to compromise or sacrifice the time I spend with my family, it's important to me to make sure I'm efficient and I do it quickly so I can continue on the path, because for me, family's first. And so I work very hard to put together these presentations and things of that nature. And what was fascinating is I never try to get my hopes up whenever there's an opportunity. There's this old adage that goes by saying, you never celebrate until the deal is done, the signature is signed. And that's pretty much my entire life when it comes to being an entrepreneur. I don't get excited. I try not to get excited. And what was so interesting in this particular scenario is that I did get excited. I felt like coming off of this COVID challenge, this was something that would definitely be a really good opportunity to get Burke Avenue to a level where we can get even greater awareness, build resources to be able to expand the line and continue to grow, from a marketing position and from a developmental position, as far as, some visions that I have of other products in the future. And so I sat there and I waited, and I was, just curious to find out what was going on. Nothing through this whole process told me or showed me that it wasn't going to go my way. So I was pretty pumped about it. And what was crazy is I had a friend of mine, he's such an awesome guy. And he was just telling me, his name is Stephen Hart, Stephen A. Hart. He's a buddy, really close friend of mine of over 20 years. And he was saying, hey, whatever happens, just always remember that you've gained a lot from this. And I know I did. I learned a tremendous amount of things that I didn't know going into this. But he also said, let's just celebrate it as if, let's look at it as if you have the deal's done. Don't sit there and, stress about it, or, just look at it like, oh, it's not going to happen. It's just, which is usually what I do, just to kind of, protect myself, protect my heart from, disappointment. And so, bless his heart, it was something that I committed to do on a weekend. I said, oh, I'm just going to just do it. And it felt good to one, I've never done it before. It felt good to just look in a positive direction and say, hey, it's going to happen, And I have a very difficult time trusting folks, trusting things to happen the way they should. I always feel like I need to put that much more effort into just making it work for me. And so I just, threw my hands down. I said, I'm going to do it. And we had a good weekend. My wife and I and my son went on a road trip, and, we just looked at it from that perspective, like, this is going to happen. And then from here, these are my plans that I'm going to put in place. I can't wait. Long story short, as you are probably hearing, it sounds like I didn't get it, which I didn't. And man, as much as I felt like in my gut that I wasn't going to get it, I didn't realize how much of a punch or how painful it was to that it felt so tough, and I was just shocked on how I handled it. And my wife asked me if I was okay, and I was like, I think so, but I was done for that day. I just couldn't believe it. And there's a post that I did on Instagram the very next day, and it had me sitting outside, and I had a mug that my son bought me, and it said, "I'm not feeling very worky today." And that's literally how I felt. I wasn't feeling very worky that day, and I posted it, and that's exactly how I felt. I was devastated, and that was the most surprising thing to me, that it was devastating. I didn't expect it to be devastating. I didn't expect my emotions to be so downtrodden. I think that's the right way to say it. And so I struggled. I struggled for a couple of days to kind of like pick myself up and say, hey, it's all right. I had a few friends that shared some thoughts. I belonged to a mastermind group, and I wasn't going to talk to them that day, but then my wife challenged me to say, hey, that's what the mastermind group is for. It's to share your wins and your losses. And, I always tell my friends and family members and, anybody that's close to me, they have this whole old phrase that says, iron sharpens iron. It's also biblical. And I always add to it, iron sharpens iron, but iron can't sharpen iron if iron doesn't know it's dull, or if iron doesn't share that it's dull. And so that's what the mastermind group was that day. I shared this disappointment, and they were all bummed for me, but they inspired me. They said, hey, we were turned down. They're all entrepreneurs. They were turned down multiple times before they got it. And always remember, Craig, that it didn't turn you down. They didn't turn you down personally. They just turned down the product. And all that means is there's just more work to be done. And yeah, that sounds great, and it's very inspiring and very strength-based. And I heard it and I understood it. But the one thing I couldn't really shake off was how I felt about it. So I was really appreciative of what they shared with me. And for the next few days, it was amazing how that disappointment shaped where I am today talking on this camera with you guys, because this is not something I do. But I realized that I have a personality that hates failure. I have a personality that will go to lengths to make sure I do not fail. And that's not a healthy way to do anything. It's not a healthy way to perform in life, because ultimately, if you don't fail, you're not learning. You can't win without failing. And I know that. But failing just hurts so bad that I don't like to fail. And so what is fascinating about this is that as I'm processing all this, I'm hearing my wife's voice saying, these are opportunities that you've learned for so many years. I mean, I created the mensroom.com back in 2009. I became a spokesperson for skincare lines a little bit after that, and things were just going amazingly. But there are ups and downs all the way through it. There's still ups and downs. This is a down. And what's crazy about it is that I never really realized that anything that I was feeling, or all the disappointments that I was going through, I never really thought that you guys or anybody would care. But as I thought about it, I realized that I listened to, NPR, Guy Raz, How I Built That. how I built this. I listened to Trailblazers.fm with Stephen A. Hart. And these folks are telling stories about their ups and downs. And that's the only time I really feel good and I feel inspired to keep going, is when I hear that, oh, they struggle with that too. So then I'm thinking to myself, well, why wouldn't I share this journey? Why wouldn't I share my downs with you? Now, hey, like I said, I'm a private guy. So why would I share it? And I don't have to share it. But the one thing I'm realizing as I'm speaking to you for quite a lengthy time at this point is that it feels good. It's very therapeutic to me. I love to talk. I talk all the time. I love to share. I'm very open with what I like to share on a one-to-one basis. And I feel like there have been so many emails that I've gotten from barbers and hairstylists and questions I've been asked for years by students about my journey. And I felt like, why am I not sharing my journey? You know, there's so much that can be learned from my ups and my downs. Yeah, the ups are great, but it brings attention to the work and the commitment required to get to your vision to the level that it needs to get to. And so I just wanted to share that was probably, and it sounds very cliche, but I want to say that was probably the best thing that happened to me in 2021 was this this retailer telling me no, or telling Burke Avenue no, because now it has challenged me to find a place and an avenue for me to inspire others in a way that they too can feel like they don't have to feel alone. You know, hey, there's, you know, I left banking to become a barber. You know, corporate world. Became a barber. You know, I have such a story that goes from the ups and downs of going back to barbering school. I cut hair for years, going to school. Why did I do shaving? You know, I have stories about, you know, developing this product, the challenges associated with developing the product, challenges of creating logos and e-commerce sites and distribution. Oh, this is ridiculous. There's so many things there that we aren't privy to knowing because no one wants to share, you know. And I would have to say, especially people, brown and black folks, people of color, we don't get this opportunity to get someone like me to tell you and to direct you and say, don't do that, do this, don't do that. And so I figured I wanted to start with this as a video just to say, hey, I have downs just like everybody else. And it would have been great for this opportunity to happen. You guys would have seen it in this national retailer. And we're like, oh man, this guy Craig is just doing his thing, Craig the Barber, blah, blah, blah. But how cool is it? Well, how cool is it for me to say, no, it didn't happen. And it's okay. You know, I'm finally at a place where I can say that, you know what? Now is not the time. And I've gained so much more from this loss than I think I would have gained in the win. And that's what I think is important, is sharing my wins and sharing my losses. But I think there's so much work in trying to move forward that if no one can show you or make it relatable, you then feel like you're all alone and you're a failure. Like, oh, you can't get it together. When in reality, I'm right there with you. I'm struggling too, you know, and I'm disappointed too. But in that disappointment is growth, and I'm excited about what I've learned in this process, because now I have a full-on presentation ready for the next retailer that I might entertain down the road. But what's also more amazing is giving me more inspiration to continue moving forward, because if I wasn't doing what I was doing, they wouldn't have found me in the first place. And how cool is that? So, you know, this is a long video, and I think that at the end of the day, the folks that want to hear it are going to hear it. And that's what this is all about. It's just if you feel led to listen, and if you feel inspired to hear this, then it was for you. And that's really what I wanted to do. And you know what? This felt pretty good. So maybe I'll share some more stories. So I appreciate you guys listening, and till next time.